Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me amongst all of you. I hope no one is feeling thirsty. And if anyone is, there is enough water. And we can see a lot of it here. Just come to think of it. Every moment of this day, today, you were thirsty. And you did not have enough water to drink. How would you feel? Being a victim of the recent floods in Gujarat, in Vadodara, I am reminded of this line from a beautiful poem, the rhyme of the ancient mariner. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. To the thoughts and feelings that you all would be having at this very moment, I would request you to please put it on hold. We will come back to it towards the end. Now, quickly talking about my journey from a jet-setting corporate to an entrepreneur in the last decade. Passing out of one of the top B schools in India, FMS Delhi, my alma mater, highly regarded in my space of work, fast-tracked in my corporate career at ITC, where I learned a lot from, and going places. It was a life many would have fancied. And the corporate hustle of the last decade made me feel that at the end of it all, good karma puts everything in place. Good karma certainly has its way of working, but the path that creates meaning in our lives is as much important. It is so very important because during the pandemic and the birth of my two kids around those period, around those 3 years to be specific, I slowed down a little and pushed myself to answer a question that had been pondering in my mind and being felt by my heart for a very long time. What is my ikigai? Is there a way in which I can live behind an imprint, a legacy, a better world for those to follow after me? And I realized that the broader answer was there in my name itself, Chitrang, Chitrika Ang, a part of a beautiful painting. I wanted to be a cog in the wheel to build sustainable solutions for the greater good, and that is what inspired me. And I did not have to look far, as my father was in the space of water wastewater treatment for last many decades. Technically sound, a chartered engineer himself, he and his team were content with the scale of operations they were at. That is how my transition from being in the limelight to being a non-entity for a brief while, from having lived in around 10 cities, I've lost count actually, to coming back to my hometown. From a highly successful corporate career to an entrepreneur began. However, it was not right from the beginning that I was convinced about the future prospects in this space. So we met many industrial clients, regulators, conglomerates, giants working in the space of water and wastewater treatment industry. We learned new concepts and all the while stayed and still are curious. One thing was absolutely clear though. The scope to solve the water problems of today and tomorrow is humongous. And there are numerous government initiatives to support the cause. During this phase, there is one very simple and impactful video that has truly inspired me. And I would like to thank Tom Freiberg for allowing me to play this video on our talk so that we all connect more with nature, the ultimate provider, and water in particular. After all, 60% in babies, it is even more. In children, it is even more. 60% of what you and me, of what all of us are, is nothing but water. As per Ministry of Jal Shakti, the annual per capita water availability in India has dropped from 1545 meter cube in 2011 to 1486 meter cube in 2021. How is that important? Now, as per GLEEC's Water Stress Index, any country which has less than 1700 meter cube of water available per capita annually is a water stressed country, and if it goes below 1000 meter cube, it gets under water scarcity. We are highly water stressed. Chennai Day Zero is something we all are aware of, where municipal tap water ran dry. Yes, in India, 90% of fresh water withdrawal is done by agricultural and municipal activities, and there is a huge scope in optimizing that water use. However, the fresh water withdrawal by industries is going to exponentially increase as we industrialize even further. For context, 30% of fresh water withdrawal is done by industries when it comes to the US, Russia, Germany. In China, it is upwards of 20%. We are hovering around or less than 10%. And so, industrial water reuse, wastewater recovery is not an option. It is a necessity. Depending on the scale, the space available, energy consumption, and the end use, there are customized offerings which water management enterprises provide. There is one common thread that we have seen across the organizations, large, medium, small, and I'm glad to share that everyone is lending an ear. All of them want to experiment, and many are already putting it into action. This need to recover water, to reuse water, has percolated throughout the entire industrial ecosystem. It has transpired to the smallest of organizations. Let me quickly take you through some of the technological developments which are there in this space. Zero liquid discharge, which many of you would have heard about. It basically means that zero liquid, no wastewater moves out of the unit. Now, the costliest step in this entire process is evaporation, which you see on your right. The conventional systems which are there, say for example, there is 1000 meter cube of water which gets evaporated at X rupees. If we put in a specialized, customized, minimal liquid discharge system, then this 1000 meter cube, which is what you see on your left, 1000 meter cube of water which goes into this system. Out of that 600 meter cube, which is what is there in the middle, is the recovered water. 600 meter cube is recovered at 0.25x, and the remaining 400 meter cube, which you see on your right, goes into the evaporator at 0.4x. Bottom line being, from x, the cost gets reduced to 0.65x, which is a substantial reduction, and it is something which is building sustainability to a large extent. Companies are open to system upgradation. The power consumption in the upgraded systems is much less. For example, from 30 bar, it gets reduced to 13 bar. The recovery increases from 27% to 38%. MBR-based sewage treatment plants are very much prevalent in commercial and industrial establishments. It not only provides similar or better results in reduced number of steps, but it also occupies lesser space. What you see in blue is the space occupied by MBR-based STP plants, and what you see in the red is the conventional sewage treatment plants. Coming back to all of us, I feel what we all can do is connect, start small, and think big. Connect with nature, with water, with all the energy that we consume. Is there a more sustainable, is there a better way to use it, to reuse it, and most importantly, to reduce it? Start small. Charity begins at home. All of us here will be having domestic water treatment plants at our homes. 50% of the water is what gets wasted, if not more. Can we have simple piping systems in place which takes this water to our gardens? As simple as that. Can you take the lead in rainwater harvesting in your society? Many of the apartments that you stay in would be having dilapidated sewage treatment plants. Can those be operationalized? Think big. How can you greatly contribute to the circular economy? For the artists in you, can we see more of such videos which inspire you and me, all of us? For the students of science, we need more innovations. We are water stressed, that is a reality, and we need more innovations. For those interested in commerce, interested in finance, can you make people believe, can you make people understand that sustainability and sustainable living is not a cost? It is an investment, which, if not done today, will leave almost nothing for the future. And coming back to the thoughts and the feeling that you would have had right at the beginning of this talk. Just imagine how our children and their children will think about us if they do not get enough resources, enough water. Will they think how selfish our ancestors were, that they did not leave behind enough? To conclude, my friend, scope is immense, future is this, and time is limited. Thank you.